what's up? This is Sifu Cuddle, and for this video we're going to be working on the monk spade. So this is it's a very important flowering technique for the monk spade form in Choi Li Fut. This is where you're going to go around the waist, up over the head, spin, and then finish up with a horizontal strike. Now pay attention to the hand transfers when you're switching hands and grips on the staff, because if you can make those consistent, then you'll be able to have a really nice flowing technique. Speed is not the goal in the beginning. Consistency is the goal. And then at that point you can start speeding up, everything will piece together. Okay, let's go get to work. Okay, so the first thing I want you to keep in mind is that we're going to be using the monk spade, but I only have one end that I want you to pay attention to, and that's the shovel end. If you don't have your own, or you want to try doing this with a spear or a long-handled broadsword, everything will be the exact same. If you have a staff, I recommend that you just tape one end of the staff, because it's important that you pay attention to which end of the weapon you're using when you do this. Okay, now the other thing is, we are using this in single end style, so any of the strikes in the end positions that we're going to end up in are going to be with thumbs pointing up in the same direction when you grab. Double end style means that the thumbs point in towards each other, so you could use both ends of the staff accordingly. Single end style means that everything is concentrated to the head of the weapon. Lastly, it's important to make sure that all of your hand transfers are consistent. So I'm going to show you exact positions. You need to take your time when learning these, and then when that's consistent, you can start adding speed and things will actually flow pretty well. Okay, so let's get started. Now the first thing I want you to do is we're going to start by, you can take the weapon, put it in your armpit, and then we're going to go to a horse stance and then hit towards the outside. You can grab with the other hand single end style. Okay, so this is actually our first technique that we're going to use. From here, I'm going to bring it around the waist, but I'm going to transfer. So my first transfer is actually thumbs pointing in towards each other. This also happens when I step. So from my first angle, I'm going to step and grab right away. So you guys can see that I'm going to start facing this way. So after my first strike, I'm going to step and grab right away this way. Okay? Now this will also be a little bit closer to the body. This is just so that you can see my grab. So again, I'm going to step and grab right here. Our next part is going to go around the back of the body. So I want to stay as close to the body as possible, thinking as my spine is a pillar and this is spinning around that pillar. Okay? So when I start from here, I do my first grab, I continue the motion around the body. Now, my thumb is going to be pointing to the bottom of the weapon. This is the key important grab, so that you can grab with the thumb pointing up towards the head of the weapon. So we'll have hands in either direction. This is where the technique is hardest. So I suggest just drilling, starting from here, going for step, and then around the back, and then step. And then make sure your thumbs are in the correct position. Start over, step, step. Okay? Now if the weapon's heavy, you're going to have to work with the weapon balance. So even when I do this, I have a chance of sliding that hand around or letting more staff go, so that I don't end up over in just in this position. I'll let it slide out of my hand a little bit more. Okay? Now do this several times. Step, step to here, and pause, and then practice it again. The next part is actually a lot easier. So work on that, and then we'll start the next phase. From here, you'll do your first step, second step, and transfer. Now let go with the back hand. You're going to raise it up over your head. Let it spin until you cannot hold on to it anymore. The front of the weapon, when that comes up, the front of the weapon will point straight forward and backward. Take your other hand and you're going to place it behind your front hand, or the hand that's grabbing onto the staff. And then you will let that transfer, continue to spin, bring it down, grab with the other hand as you finish the strike. Okay, so again, once this comes up over the head, I'm going to have my palm facing towards me. I'm going to bring up my hand behind it with the palm facing towards me, let it finish its rotation, and then once it comes down, I grab the center and then hit, okay? When it's all put together, you will have step, transfer, step over the head, transfer, and then again, we're hitting correctly. Now we need to be able to do this on both sides. So again, step, step, transfer, above the head, finish the spin, and down. Step, step, transfer, over the head, and then back down. Step, step, over the head, transfer, and then back down. Alright, so there you have it. This is a fancy technique, but it involves a lot of different hand changes and grips when moving. So really take the time, work on the first section before you work on the second section, and then things will piece together on their own. Even if you have to go through and stop at each hand change, as long as it's consistent, you can start speeding things up, you can start letting things flow a little bit more. Now if you get the chance to work with a heavy weapon, it'll give you a better idea of letting the weapon carry itself up and around or just around the waist, and you will get a completely different feel for this technique. Practice this one, and don't forget to check out some of my other videos, and for sure subscribe if you haven't already. Okay, keep training. Till next time, this is Sifu Cuddle.
Bam! Fist with a faux hawk.